Hi, I'm Josh Lambert, a group product manager here at GitLab, and I'd like to do a quick recording of a comparison walkthrough of GitLab, a complete solution for your entire DevOps lifecycle, as well as also a lighter weight open source SEM, kind of more focused solution in Gitea. I've seen this around, the UI looks pretty interesting. I haven't had a chance to try it, so I would like to just do a quick comparison, in particular on the getting started workflow for self-managed, or what we call sort of installing it on your own server. To be clear, I have installed GitLab many times. I will try to put that knowledge out, essentially, out of my brain or suppress it as much as I possibly can. I have never installed Gitea before. I've never actually really used it, so I will be coming in fresh. And so a bit of a disclaimer in that I do have an experience advantage with GitLab, but we'll do a quick recording of the video here and we can see where we end up. So I will share my screen and I have a little side-by-side video going here. So I have Gitea open. It's just gitea.io. And you can see, I believe that's pronounced correctly because it's kind of their little model there is a teacup, quite cool. And then over here we have about.gitlab.com, both home pages. So we will start there for our competitive walkthrough and see what we can do. So there's a big call to action here under try Gitea. That's pretty quick login there, pretty cool. And this is one here for GitLab. That takes us to a trial page. It looks like it's a test instance. Okay, I guess you can sort of play around with here and they might get deleted. That's pretty neat. But I actually want to try to install this myself. But I like how they kind of just jump you right into the product there when you click on try. We'll go to GitLab. So we have here, it looks like a trial. I wasn't really attempting to try and find the trial. I wanted to just try the open source product. So I guess I'm going to go back and free trial. I want the open source solution here, or at least I just want to try and run it. It's not in there. Pricing doesn't come down. Get started and install GitLab. What does get started do? Okay, it's just like a list of links. Sign up for a free GitLab.com account, sign in to GitLab.com, start using GitLab, install GitLab. Cool. All right, I think that's what we want to do here. Awesome. All right, so we're at an omnibus package installation. All right, cool. So we found out where we wanted to end up here on the GitLab website. It wasn't terribly clear. They're definitely steering you towards a free trial, likely to capture some content information. But let's try here. So we tried this. This takes us to an online kind of like SaaS trial version. It's not really what we're looking for. So we scroll down. It's a Golang service. That's quite neat. Big fan there. We use some Go here in GitLab. And so you can run the binary for your platform. Awesome. It's also a Docker, Vagrant, or get it packaged. Let's see, run the binary. It's kind of their top solution, their top recommended solution here. Yeah, this looks hard. Well, not hard, but a fair bit of work here. Let's maybe default to packaged. That will make, I would think, that the binary easier. It seems like, because it definitely has short instructions. So, okay, I've got it. So there's the package in Debian contrib, but it's not supported by us. Deploy from binary instead. All right. Okay, so we'll do the binary solution. Let's actually get a AWS console going here. Maybe we'll open up in a start a new instance. All right, we will pick. It says anything. I think it runs we'll pick a Debian, or we'll pick Ubuntu. All right, cool. Now, one thing I don't see here is the minimum requirements. Okay. On the left-hand side here, I mean, if Golang binary feels like it's really lightweight, and so it'd be great if you could pick the free tier. I just don't want to end up picking the free tier and then having it back out again. So let's get Gitea minimum. All right, cool. All right, here we go. Okay. A whole bunch of features, looks pretty awesome. System requirements. All right, 2 cores and a gig of RAM seems to be recommended. Cool. All right, so the T2 medium here is 2 cores. I guess there is a 2-core micro, 2.3a micro, which would be even smaller, but we'll go with the T2 medium to keep things simple here. And we'll just keep in mind that it only requires a gig of memory, which is quite nice. So we could shrink it down and have less over provisioning. I'm not actually sure what the pricing is on these. It might not be any cheaper, I'm not sure. I made a quick little VPC. It's a standard public VPC with 1 subnet, so nothing fancy there. We'll just expose these to the internet since they are for testing. Am I missing anything here? I don't think so. We'll add storage. 8 gigs is fine. We're not going to generate a lot of stuff. It's not eligible for the free tier. Understood. Let's launch it. I'll use my existing key pair. And away we go. All right, cool. So we have our Gitea instance. We'll just name that so it's clear. And while that's launching, we'll take a look at GitLab. So we have Ubuntu recommended solution. We'll again keep it like for like. So these are our packages. We do have a source install of GitLab. I don't really recommend it. It's further down this list. We don't really provide binaries outside the package. We do have a Docker solution like they do as well, but we'll stick here on the package side. So Ubuntu. All right, so here is some requirements. We recommended the NMS package. Okay. We also strongly recommend at least 4 gigs of RAM. Okay, so there's definitely a RAM differential here between GitLab and Gitea. But it looks like we both sort of recommend 2 cores for a small team. We might be able to both run on 1 core, but in the interest of time and not waiting for a long time, we'll start with a recommendation. And just again, keep in mind that that Gitea only really required 1. So we'll similarly pick Ubuntu here. We'll pick the T2 medium. That again looks fine. We'll add some 8 gigs of storage. And we will review and launch. We'll pick that same keychain. And we'll get started. And then let's just label this with GitLab. And we can go from here. Awesome. Okay, so our other one is up and running. That's great. Let's close our requirements page and get back to our instances. So let's hit the connect button here. Let's scroll over and get the actual. Did we open this up for SSH? I think we did. Did we? Did I pick a security group? I forgot to figure out what our security group here is. Okay, we'll want to change that. So let's just do that real quickly right now. And we want to open up also HTTP as well. We're not going to bother with certificates, I don't think, just to keep things really simple. So we'll just go with HTTP. Awesome. Oh, cider block. Everything. All right, cool. Let's go back to our security groups. We updated launch 1. We also want to get launch wizard 2 and do the same thing. Sorry about missing this the first time through, folks. It would have been a little faster. We're even using the same one. Okay. We're back. Let's go back to our instances. All right, so we can SSH in, we have HTTP access. That should be sufficient here. So let's go ahead and try to connect to Gitea. We need to associate an elastic IP. Let's grab one here. If we don't have one, we'll need 2. We don't have any, so we'll allocate 1, and then we'll allocate another. Okay, this one goes to GitLab. And this one goes to Gitea. All right, so I think they're both associated here. We'll go back to our instances, take a look at Gitea. Whoop. And we can now log in. Cool. All right, so I'll copy that. Let me grab my terminal and bring it over to the window here. Oh, we might need to stop the split screen business here. Give me 1 second. And grab my, because it wasn't letting me pull in my my console. Okay. So let's take a quick look here. Let's SSH in. I think it's -I. My key is here. Let's go back. Let's grab the other window though real fast here. All right, we'll shrink this back down again. Switch it over here so you can easily use it. And let's grab our terminal back. And just confirm what the connect string was. All right, cool. So this is what we want to do. Now I've changed a little bit of where the download link is. Awesome. All right, cool. So here we are, we're in, great. So let's just make sure we highlight this. Looks like we get the package first. Makes sense. How big is this? Ah, cool, 80 megs, pretty lightweight. We'll make it executable. I don't know, bother working with their GPG signatures. Doesn't really matter to me. We'll delete this server soon. We can configure environment variables. It doesn't really matter to me. Do we have Git installed? We do, 2.17. Create a user. Let me just copy paste this. And we'll see if it works. Oh, we need to super user it. All right, cool. So we had a git user, disabled the password. Looks like there's a required directory structure as well. So we'll go ahead and make that. Oh. All right, so what happened here? All right, so we made make Gitea, okay. And so I just need to break these up individually. There we go. All right. Temporary set rights for a user Git so the web installer could write configuration file. Okay. If you don't want the web installer to write the configuration. All right. I don't know what the web installer is. It sounds good. So we'll keep going. Export the working directory. Okay. Copy this to a global directory. I think I'm planning to write that with sudo there. We're not going to reboot this server, so I'm not going to create the Linux service. And so let's go ahead and run this sucker from the command line. I'm going to run this with sudo. It may or may not work. Let's see if it does. I think there's some, I'm not sure there's wonkiness with that. But cool. Okay. So we're running, and if you want to update, you just replace the binary. That's cool. So, oh wait, what? Is it listening on 3000? Did we set that somewhere? I guess they're assuming you're going to have an HTTPS server in front of this that then reverse proxies. Okay, well, we can go back in and edit the security group here. Close this, Gitea, go find our security group, view inbound rules. Well, I want to edit them. So edit inbound rules. We'll make another custom rule for 3000. Slider block 000, save rules. Okay. All right, so now we should, oops, I don't want to close the whole console there. All right, so let's go find our instance again. I think we can now log in. Let's find out. Wait, what happened? We just got redirected over to that seems weird. Oh. Does that help? Yes. Don't forget the port, folks. Maybe my Verizon Fios DNS service helping me find the right thing. So with that, we're in. That's cool. Awesome. All right. So let's. I guess we register. Is there an admin experience on this? Or is it all a configuration file? That's a configuration file. We can set up a bunch of stuff. Well, you can use Let's Encrypt. That's cool. That's awesome. All right, so it doesn't look like any user was provisioned. Okay, so we'll just register as one. We don't have a database. We must have missed that in the binary. All right. So we need a database. There we go. All right. So let's go back to our, I guess we'll take the service down. And I forgot how to like install MySQL with the package name and things like that. So let's just figure this out. All right, cool. So we'll just do this. And in doubt, Google. Just take a couple minutes here. We'll continue. All right, I think we're wrapping up here. Okay, cool. So that's done. That's MySQL u root-p, which is the next suggested step. Enter the password. Okay, the secure installation study did not automatically launch. So I guess let's do that then. Validate. No, okay, new password. We'll call it Gitea. Gitea. Remove anonymous user. Sure. Disallow root login remotely. Sure. Sure. Reload privilege tables. Sure. Okay, cool. All right. So now if we MySQL-u root-p, whoop. I can't type. I apologize. Gitea. Wait, what did we just do? I thought we set the password to be Gitea. The password for root. Yeah. That's not promising. Let's go back through our utility. No, we don't want to. We want to use Gitea. Yeah, well, let's remove the anonymous user like we did. We're on localhost, so should be fine. It's fine. Privilege tables. So this isn't really a statement on can't log in. Did I miss something in here? Did it tell me what to use? No. I haven't set up MySQL before on Ubuntu, so I don't know what's happening. I haven't done a whole lot of database installation work, so yeah, why isn't, let's just try with it one more time here. No, Gitea, remove anonymous users. Well, it was like the default. Let's allow root remotely. Maybe that's the problem. We're just, yeah, reload the privilege tables. All right. Now, is this going to work for us? No. Set MySQL root password. Ubuntu. Oh boy. Oh boy. I've already screwed this up. Is this it? All right. Okay. So let's try and follow some of these instructions. All right. Process already exists. We are in new user password of Gitea. All right, and let's think about flush privileges. All righty, quit. Service restart. Ah, there it goes. All right, so that easy installation thing didn't work. Okay, let's get back to it. Small distraction. Okay. Set old passwords equals 0. Not sure what that does. Create a user. Identify. Okay. Okay, I'm going to create a database. I'm going to grant all privileges. Cool. Exit from database. Clean exit. Oh, let's go back. Too many exits. Let's just test our connection. I don't think we need the host. Do we need the host name on here? Well, it says localhost. Well, I guess we'll just put that in. All right, that looks like it works. Cool. Okay, so it's localhost. Gitea. Is it Gitea or Gitea DB? Gitea DB database. Okay. Charset. It had us, I think, to UTF-8 MB4, right? Cool. That's fine. I think that's fine. Run as username root. Okay, that works. That seems fine. Oh, you can change listen port. Let's change it to 80. Cool. All right. Makes sense why I started from 3000 actually. If it went through the process, like a local server, you could go do it. Let's not bother with any of that stuff. Oh, the admin account settings. It's optional. Oh. All right. Well, we'll call the admin account username Josh. Password Gitea. And my email address, Joshua. Let's see what happens here. That didn't work. I don't know why. It's not back on. Oh, I know why it didn't work. We stopped the Gitea server. Whoops. All right, so let's go back and start Gitea. I apologize if I mispronounced it a couple of times. I just need to get it in my head. All right, so now it should be running again. Let's refresh. It is indeed. Let's re-enter our stuff here. Yeah, let's change this to 80. Just make it a little easier for everyone involved here. We're not, I guess we'll do this again. Sounds like we need to recreate a thing, but if we can do it here, maybe it's easier. All right, now. All right, it might not redirect us over is my guess. Does it? Let's see what was, okay, let's try and go back to 3000. Oh, we're doing a whole lot of things. Lots of database work. Now, I did change, oh, it did wait, localhost. Uh-oh. Oh no, I didn't change the, that's not good. Let's go back here to, is it running? Oh no. Why is it, oh, Verizon, go away. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it does look like it's getting the request, but I broke put the wrong host name in. It's my fault. How do you edit the configuration file? That would be the easiest to do. app.ini. I'll just do some bad things here. See, Gitea. I use nano, please. Again, I'm a product manager, be nice to me. Host, that's the database. Server, okay, so this is the problem is. Let's use the full-on Amazon domain name, because that is unlikely to change. For the record, I can use VI too. LFS is neat. All right, the rest of this seems like it's fine, I think. We'll lay the rest of the defaults. I think we're hopefully gonna fix what we needed to fix. So, I'm in sudo. Okay. Let's restart it. Let's go back to our thing here. Let's put that in, see if it's restarted. Looks like it has. And we're in. Well, we're on the home page at least. Let's sign in. Joshua Gitea. Okay. Cool. Let's add a repository. Let's call it iTerm2. Can I? Template. Huh. Issue labels. License. I wonder, can you import one? New migration. What is that? Ah, perfect. All right, let's just let's grab the iTerm2 repo. Well, actually, I should grab to iTerm. Let me just get it off of GitHub. That's fine. I think it's the same thing. It's just mirrored in both places, but we'll pull it from the same place just to make double sure. There we go, iTerm2, that's fine. There doesn't have to be a mirror. LFS is a go. I don't think it uses LFS. Okay, work should be happening. It does look like it is. Looks like it's just pulling. Hopefully the import started. Do we know if that happened? Not really clear. Like, oh, okay. Oh, gravatars are working. That is me, for sure. That's cool. Oh, it's done. Hooray. I like how you can kind of navigate away and then come back and it still has, oh, okay, it got releases. Issues and pull request. Are there any? There are. Maybe you have to be logged in for those. Huh, I don't know. that's quite cool. Or maybe it's just, oh, it's just a standard Git pull. That's why it's not picking up this stuff. It's just doing a Git pull, and these are probably the tags. So cool, okay, that's awesome. So we're up. We have an instance we can probably, I would imagine, do an SSH request, but we won't do that. But that's that. That wasn't too bad. So let's move this over to the Gitea browser here. We'll keep that open, and let's log in really fast to GitLab. Why is there no, did I double assign the IP address? This one's 54.152. Let's go back to our elastic IPs. Whoops, if I did I not allocate this one properly? Associate rather, to GitLab. All right, let's go back to our instances. Connect. All right, that looks better. Let us get out of, well, like a second terminal. Okay, so we'll SSH here. All right. So let's grab our installation packages here. App get update, install. Okay. We'll install postfix because it tells us to do so. I happen to know you don't actually have to, but we'll just click through it. And then we have a script. We'll trust the script, even though some of you may not. It's available. You can, of course, browse it. It's essentially just adding the GitLab package server or package repository. So we'll go ahead and do that. I understand it's definitely could be considered a risk. And oh, we want to do that. That's annoying. No. I need to customize that URL. This is wrong. That should get fixed. That is a bad pattern. All right, so here's our host name. We will be using that. It should be open on port 80. We definitely need to add HTTP here first. We'll go back and do that. This is gonna bug me. I kind of hit caps lock there. All right. 836 megs. So this package is quite a lot harsher, for sure. I think the other one was 80 megs for Gitea. So you can see just the difference in size, 10 times larger. I'm gonna unpack this. We could have timed, I guess, the importing speed. We can always import again. Just curious the performance on a 2 CPU 4 gig machine. Now keep in mind again that Gitea says you only really need 1 gig of memory. And we've over provisioned by 3 gigs. So the package looks like it's installed. We're now starting up, it's like a configuration script or something. Looks like we installed Redis. Well, lots of stuff is happening. Postgres, I see. There it goes. Yeah, that was like database got installed. It's like we're installing some extensions. Database migrations. That was also what kind of happened, that kind of longer delay, if we recall, once we clicked on the kind of install button for Gitea, a bunch of database migrations. So this is similar to that. it is pretty clear that GitLab has automated more of it into a package. You don't have to bring your own MySQL server. That said, I'm sure people are more capable of installing MySQL than I am. I haven't done it in a long time. But clearly the installation process takes a lot longer. The package is much bigger. But so far, it has proven to be less steps. It sort of handles it all for you, it looks like, from the database and I guess Redis and other things getting installed and started up. And I guess the accounts too. I happen to know it does install the accounts, but if you saw it roll by, you would see it does some user management as well. All right, still going. Wow, still going. Looks like we're installing Grafana. All right. It's not very comforting to see a CVE reset status line. Okay, it looks like we're kicking off again. And clearing the Rails cache, it looks like. Restarting things. Oh, okay. Looks like we're up. It now says we're pushed. Okay, so we can optionally upgrade. Okay. Let's go up to our instance. It is available. What? Oh man. We'll call it GitLab 1.1. Is that the right? I think that's 8 characters, right? It is. Now, it would have been nice if they actually told you what user account this is. Because we just changed the password and it's not really clear. We'll try root. And we're in. Awesome. Okay, great. So what we'll do from here, we'll take a small break and we'll pick back up. I might delete the other iTerm2 repo off of Gitea, and then we can do just some performance trials as well, right? So GitLab is a lot heavier, certainly, and we can see how each performs on this 2 CPU, 4 gigs of RAM docks. Again, understanding that we did over provision Gitea a little bit. So we'll come back and do some performance testing and click around a little bit, and I'll be right back. Thanks. All right. Hi, everyone. Josh, continuing on where we left off here and comparing a bit of a walkthrough of Gitea versus GitLab on the small sort of like entry-level small group size of things. Let me share my screen and we can pick up where we left off here. So here we go. We have our Gitea server up and running, and we also have our GitLab server up and running. I did go through and add a little bit of kind of collect a little bit of data here, basically to run through it as you've heard in the past, but to summarize, or in the previous section, we have a clear action in the download page for Gitea and GitLab. We try and steer you towards the free trial, basically a trial sign up. We'll just write that down here and capture it. Let's add some extra friction for sure. The package size is about 10% of the GitLab package size, right? It's about 80 versus 800 megs. And the minimum requirements that or recommended in this case for both platforms was asking for 2 CPUs. However, for Gitea, it was only a gig of RAM, whereas GitLab kind of has a minimum recommended size of 4 gigs. Yeah, sorry. And one of the differences, of course, in the package size is that GitLab does include all your dependencies. It's sort of batteries included, right? Where with Gitea, we had to go through and install the database. Not a big problem, it's just a little bit of a difference in approach. They both seem to have some nice quality of life features, including things like automatic Let's Encrypt for SSL. And the install time essentially took a little extra because I had to figure out, we kind of left, Gitea leaves the account creation to use, the installation of databases and things like that, where GitLab essentially automates the whole process. And so the number of commands are much fewer, and therefore it takes a little less time, even though the download and the installation here is longer itself. So that's a bit of where we're at. We're now both logged in. I did delete the iterm2 repository here. And so what we can do is we can do a little bit of comparison testing. I have a timer on here. All right. So I'll use my iPhone at the time. You won't be able to see it on the screen. Actually, we can probably share it up here. Let's see if we can. Clock, stopwatch, reset. Oh, all right. Let's see if we can manage this. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Give me a second to try and pull up here. Okay, this is really quite large. Give me a second to shrink this down. But we can do a little bit of timing test here on my iPhone. So we'll go through and try to take these off both at approximately the same time for the import. So we'll do this migration, what they call migration here in Gitea, and we will do a new project import here in GitLab, and we will pick this iterm2 repository on GitHub. So we'll put that here. They both nicely auto-populate the repository name. As we'll basically strive to, we'll make them both public, again, to have as much matching settings as possible. And get back to my timing screen. Oh, those are my children. Here we go, and we'll get this kicked off here. So I'm going to start with Gitea first, get a bit of a head start here. Start the clock. There it goes. We'll create project. Oh, that's not fun. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we wait for the timing to finish on Gitea, and then we can do the same operation on GitLab once it's done. So here's our little timer going. I do like how it it kind of creates a project and then it keeps data that's actually migrating still. So if you navigate away, you can come back. I'm not going to do that now because I don't want to essentially potentially alter the test by generating traffic and performance elsewhere. So we will keep this activity going. We crossed 1 minute on the import here, and it looks like we're done. So right over about a minute and 6, we can check the tape, but around there. So we'll go back and we'll reset the clock here. And we are doing a like for like import. And so this is a standard Git import. Oh, I did this wrong. That might be why. So we can just do a git repo by URL. We can add this here. And then we will fix the project name here. And we'll make it public. Okay, great. And if you do something with like on GitLab with like GitHub import, it will pick up more things. It'll pick up your issues and your pull requests and things like that. And so we're not going to do that because we want to keep this apples to apples. So let's go ahead and get our clock up. Hopefully, this will go through. Let's find out. Here we go. All right, so I am curious if I have to get away and come back, what will happen. But let's wait this out here. See if they're around the same performance. And then after this is done, we'll go through and check a little bit of potentially the performance, and then also just the overall CPU and memory. Oh, there it is, it's done. All right, there we go. That looks like it came through. Yes, we know we can't pull that. So that was done in a little under 60 seconds. So let's go back to our tail of the tape here. So this is a mirror. This was right around, I don't know, like 65 seconds, we'll say. And this was right around 32 seconds-ish. So that's actually a different result than what I was expecting. Interesting. All right, so what's next? What we can do is we can run a little bit of a speed test here with what we call site speed. Let me get back to my consoles here. Actually, before we do that, let's, do we need this anymore? I don't think so. Hi, okay, so as you may have heard during that last section, I had an audio problem after I closed QuickTime from sharing my iPhone, and it got very buzzy. So we'll pick up from there. I already did some of the tests, and so I'll just cover the results of them as opposed to rerunning them. So let me share my screen here and we can take a look. So I completed the site speed testing and also took a look at some performance testing as well. You can see the results here. Let's start with the performance testing. In general, both seem to spike at around, say, 20% to 25% of a CPU. So actually, I think that would be, let's see here. So I think that would actually be to double this if you're on 0.4 of a core and 0.5 of a core, because this is a dual core machine, and I was just looking at the percentages. So I believe that is correct, actually. But anyways, it was pretty close on resource consumption when looking at CPU utilization during the site speed test. Now, that's not a true load test, and so perhaps really loading it down will be different. I don't have a load test I can use right now, so we'll just go with the site speed test as 10 iterations hitting the homepage there, the project homepage. Now, one big difference you can notice here is that the GitLab instance has significantly less memory free than the Gitea server. And this has been essentially sitting here at essentially very little memory free for the time it's varied. It's running for a couple days now, as you can see from the uptime. And over here with the Gitea server, actually there's been less and less memory free. I wouldn't want to say it's a memory leak or anything like that, because it looks like it's consuming about the same amount of memory as it did before, I think. However, there's definitely a noticeable difference in the free memory. It used to have right around 2 gigs of memory consumed, and now we're looking more like it's about 3. I don't know what happened there. We'll still call it 2. It might just be additional caching that's happening here over time. So those were the performance impacts or the performance testing. Again, GitLab does consume more memory for sure than Gitea. But when comparing these site speed runs, let's take a look at those here. This is the Gitea server, and this is the GitLab server. I think there's some interesting points to call out here. The first is that the first paint of GitLab is significantly faster than the Gitea server, 620 milliseconds versus 1.7 seconds. And that has a large impact on the speed index of what we're seeing here, where the speed index for Gitea is 1.9 seconds versus 893 milliseconds. But I think this is actually a pretty false indicator because, frankly, GitLab feels slower. So even though speed index is different, I think the more impactful metric for me, at least for this particular use case here of Gitea versus GitLab, is actually the visual readiness. And I'm not sure how the first paint can be slower than visual readiness. I don't know. That doesn't really make sense to me. However, I will say that Gitea felt faster, significantly faster, as in more of the page loaded more quickly than GitLab, where it took around 2 seconds for the visual readiness. And these two felt closer to what I was feeling. This did not feel like it was accurate. If we go back over here and do a quick reload, as you can see, it is not terribly fast. Now this is very cold. It has not been warmed up in days, and so that's not abnormal. But you can see that partial loading happening. And when you go to the Gitea server, again, these have not been warmed up recently here, so you will see some differences. It loads in completely, almost instantly. And I would argue that this is not a good indicator. This is not, it seems frankly buggy, but the visual readiness is the one that feels more closely to what I'm seeing. I'm not even sure why this is measured as such, but I would call Gitea faster for sure. Is how it's perceived by me as an actual user. So what we'll do is we won't go with site speed. That does not feel correct at all to me. I think it's being heavily weighted by the partial paint in the speed in the first paint operation here, but it frankly feels slower. So we'll cross that out and we'll go with visual readiness, which I think is a little more of an indicative of what we're actually seeing here. But anyways, that's essentially our summary here. I do have some improvements for GitLab that we want to try and do. That get started page on the website, I'm not sure it meets the bar for directly linked off the homepage. It's very simple. It's essentially just a checklist or a linked list of various other links. It did get me where I wanted to go ultimately, but that page is also available on the homepage. So just referring to what I'm using here is there's the install GitLab link here, which takes us to the same place we went before. And then we have this getting started page, which just doesn't really, I'm not sure how useful this is actually. So I wonder if it actually justifies the spot here on our homepage. So I'll raise that conversation with our marketing team. We also need to, as part of the installation page, remove the embedded Carriage return in this command right here. This is the one where we expect you to edit this URL. But when you hit this copy to clipboard action, it actually embeds a Carriage return in the copied string. And so you actually don't get a chance if you use the copy button. And so it's actually a pretty poor user experience. So we'll need to change that. Finally, we don't clearly tell you that the password that you're setting when you first install GitLab is in fact root. Or I should say the account for which you're setting the password is in fact root. And that can be quite confusing, I imagine, to some users. And you probably have to go Google the result because we don't tell you anywhere. It's not on the home page. Oh, it actually is right here. Never mind. But that's pretty easy to miss because I didn't bother actually reading down below. So I think this should be present on the set password screen if we possibly can do it. That might be a common screen that's utilized across other accounts. I don't know why that would be, but it might be, and so maybe it's hard. But I think this should be present in the actual product versus making you read the installation documentation. Because frankly, if you're like me and you have your URL here configured, you might not read the documentation. You might have to go back and try to figure out what's happening. So either way, I think those are our follow-ups here from GitLab side. I think the biggest thing for Gitea would be to consider including the minimum requirements on the installation documentation. I couldn't find where those were linked. I had to Google searching for them. So that's one thing to consider when you're going through the installation process. Now, granted, it's pretty low requirements, but I think that would be helpful. And the other aspect would be whether to consider automating more of the setup. I realize this is a philosophical question rather than a technical one, aside from it just being work. But I would say, as someone who is not super technical and just trying to accomplish a job, which is to get an SCM instance up and running, it definitely slowed me down than otherwise. So anyways, that'd be my feedback as a product manager, not a system administrator who probably has gone through MySQL installations many, many times, that it would have allowed me to complete the job I was looking to complete quicker. So I think those would be the two take homes from me on Gitea. Otherwise, I think it's been delightful to use. It's been quick overall, and in general, it has quite a lot of features actually, if you go back in the feature list. So overall, a great tool, and the import worked fantastically. And yeah, I think it's really neat service. So congrats to the Gitea team. That looks great. And I think that concludes our little walkthrough here of Gitea and GitLab. Thanks, everyone.